I don't know if a lot of people would understand how you got into being an agent, because obviously, I mean, you were the trailblazer in terms of female agents, right? The
Right.
ones that we see now are really standing on your strong shoulders, and you personally mentored so many of them. But
Yes.
it was kind of a unique path for you. Can you just give us a little background?
Yes. So I grew up in Oklahoma, which, of course, my neighbors to the south in Texas will argue with me, but I think Oklahoma high school football is just it. So I was raised on Oklahoma football, high school football, Oklahoma Sooners, OSU Cowboys. Every single Friday night was a football game. Every single Saturday was a college game. And then on Sundays, we watched the Cowboys or the Steelers. And so my whole life revolved around honestly just being a great, like being a fan. I remember asking my dad, though. My dad was an attorney, but he was also a radio play-by-play guy, and so I would go with him as a little bitty girl to games when he would call games, and I would have all these questions like, Daddy, tell me about this, tell me, why do they do that, why do they do this? And finally I remember being like, 4.5, 5 years old, and my dad sitting down and going, okay, I'm tired of all of your like questions. I'm just going to give you a chalk talk. I'm going to explain the X's and O's. You're going to get it. And then no more questions. Got it? And I was like, 5-year-old me. Okay.
No,
So
that means we're just starting questions.
yeah,
But anyway, I'm
exactly.
glad you
Yeah,
gave
I'm
me
like,
a
I'm gonna have
foundation.
so many questions after this. So anyway, got my first chalk talk when I was a little bitty, fell in love with a game, became such a fan, and didn't get to play. And that's the funny thing is I remember as a little girl going, I want to be out there. Like I would go to the games and go, I want to be out there on the field. And my parents would be like, oh, well, girls don't play football. I wish I'd known you back then. I don't know what position I would have played, but maybe corner. I don't know. But I loved the game. I wanted to be part of it. And so my route to being part of the game initially was as a baton twirler. I was like, well, I don't want to be a cheerleader on the sidelines. I want to be out on the field, and the twirler gets to be on the field. So I'm going to do that. So I did that through college, went to law school. Honestly, thought I never had an idea that I could work in football. That just, I always thought, I love it, but it's not, I don't see any avenues for me. And so I'm just going to love the game, but I'm going to pursue my passion. And my passion was serving. My passion was helping people. My passion was, I was raised by a lawyer. I learned so much from my father. I admired how he would take everybody's problems on himself, on his own shoulders, and give them solutions. He was always in their corner. And I'm like, that's the kind of person I want to be. I want to be someone who is advocating and protecting and fighting for people I care about. And so I didn't know it, but everything was aligning. I went to law school. I started my law practice. My initial, heart for serving people started with working in the nonprofit arena. So as a trial lawyer, I got to be competitive as a trial lawyer, but I also got to work with nonprofit organizations of people giving back. And then it's funny how fate just steps in. I got a call 5 years into my law practice from an NFL player and his family. They had started a foundation. They had run into all kinds of issues and they needed a lawyer. So they hired me, and that turned my world upside down. I started learning about what players go through when they go through that transition from student athlete to professional and all the things that are involved in that. And I remember his mom grabbing my hand in a board meeting and saying, where were you in the beginning? Why didn't we have someone like you in our corner? You should be an agent. And that's where it started. So yeah, I took a really indirect route. I became a certified NFL contract advisor at age 32. I had no connections. I knew nothing about the industry. I studied and passed the exam on the collective bargaining agreement and salary cap. And so I knew the business, like legal nuts and bolts of everything. But other than that, I was completely green. And you know what? I jumped in. I said, you know what? I'm passionate about helping these players become the best that they can be on and off the field, with their legacies, with their brand, with their everything that they want to accomplish in their life. So I'm just going to jump in and figure it out. And here I am 16 years later, still doing
I
it.
know.